September 13th, 2023. The Black Sea. Under the cover of darkness, a new kind of predator glides across the water. It's not a warship. It's not a submarine. It's a low-profile carbon fiber hull packed with explosives and guided by satellite. Its target, the headquarters of Russia's Black Sea Fleet in Sevastopol. This wasn't just an attack. It was a declaration that the age of the unchallenged surface fleet was over. This is the story of how a nation with no navy is winning a war at sea. At the start of the full-scale invasion in February 2022, the outcome at sea seemed predetermined. Russia's Black Sea Fleet was a formidable force, a dozen frigates and corvettes, landing ships, diesel-electric attack submarines, and its flagship, the guided missile cruiser Moscow. Its role was to project power, enforce a blockade, and threaten Ukraine's entire coast. Ukraine, in contrast, had virtually no surface fleet to speak of. The strategic imperative for Ukraine was clear. They had to invent a new way to fight. They had to turn the Black Sea Fleet's greatest asset, its size and proximity, into its greatest vulnerability. The answer would not be built in a shipyard, but in a workshop. The first chapter of this new war was written on April 14, 2022, with the shocking sinking of the Moscow by Ukrainian Neptune missiles. It was a devastating blow, but it was a conventional one. The real revolution began subtly. In October 2022, a small unmanned boat was seen washing ashore in Crimea. It looked like a jet ski. Many dismissed it. They were wrong. This was the prototype. By late 2022, the first true naval drone strikes began. These early models targeted the Sevastopol naval base. They were a proof of concept. Could a small, cheap, unmanned vessel penetrate the heart of Russian naval defenses? The answer was a resounding yes, but this was just the beginning. The real campaign launched in the summer of 2023. Ukraine unveiled its new arsenal, the Sea Baby and Magura V5 naval drones. These were not improvised toys. They were sophisticated weapon systems, capable of carrying hundreds of kilograms of explosives, traversing over 800 kilometers of open sea, and transmitting live video feed via a Starlink satellite link to an operator hundreds of miles away. The tactics were as innovative as the technology. The drones would travel in packs, swarm a target, and approach from multiple vectors, overwhelming traditional point defense systems designed to stop slower, larger missiles.
The targets were strategic. They were no longer just warships. On July 17, 2023, they struck the Kerch Bridge, a vital Russian supply line and a powerful symbol of Putin's claimed annexation of Crimea. Then, they went after the very foundation of Russian naval power in the region. In a series of audacious attacks, they struck the Yelenogorsky-Gornyak landing ship at its home port in Novorossiysk, the Buyan-class missile corvette Samum in Sevastopol, and repeatedly pounded port infrastructure and air defenses. The most significant blow came on September 13, 2023. A coordinated strike by multiple Sea Baby drones breached the defenses of the Sevastopol naval dry docks, striking a Kilo-class submarine and a Rapucha-class landing ship, rendering both combat ineffective and proving that even Russia's most protected anchorages were no longer safe. The strategic impact of this campaign was immediate and profound. The Russian Black Sea Fleet was forced into a retreat. Warships that once menaced the Ukrainian coast were relocated hundreds of miles east to Novorossiysk, drastically reducing their operational effectiveness. More importantly, in August 2023, Ukraine successfully restarted its grain exports through a unilateral shipping corridor in the western Black Sea, a direct result of the degraded Russian naval presence. They had effectively broken the blockade. Economically, the cost-exchange ratio is staggering. A single Russian Admiral Grigorovich-class frigate cost over $500 million. A Ukrainian naval drone costs between $250,000 and $500,000. Ukraine is achieving strategic effects for a fraction of 1% of the cost of the assets it is destroying or neutralizing. Militarily, every navy in the world is watching. The US, China, the UK. All are now urgently developing and procuring unmanned surface vessels. The lesson is clear. The future of naval warfare will be a mix of crude motherships and swarms of intelligent, low-cost, and expendable drones. The era of the battleship ended with the airplane. The era of the unchallenged surface combatant may have ended in the Black Sea. The story of Ukraine's naval drones is more than a tale of technological innovation. It is a lesson in asymmetric warfare and strategic adaptation. It demonstrates that in the 21st century, ingenuity can be more powerful a weapon than sheer mass. A small team of engineers in a nondescript office, operating a joystick, can now alter the course of a naval campaign and change the global balance of trade. The waters of the Black Sea, once dominated by the shadows of Russian warships, are now patrolled by silent, autonomous hunters. They have not only reshaped a battlefield, but have permanently rewritten the ancient rules of power at sea. The drone war continues, a silent, relentless campaign that proves that in modern conflict, the most powerful weapon is not always the largest, but the one nobody saw coming.